If you're looking to jump into the world of Star Wars Legends comics for the first time, you're probably faced with a conundrum. There is a wealth of stories out there, but it's so difficult to figure out where to start. If you just search Star Wars on Marvel Unlimited, you'll find video game and movie adaptations, series that change names midway through but continued storylines, multiple series just named Star Wars. There is so much to look through and it's so difficult to know what goes with what. Of course, there's no one perfect way to jump into the world of Legends comics, but we're here to give you some of our favorite strategies on where to get started. Hi everyone, I'm Nathan Emery, content creator here at Youtini, and I'll be your guide to the comics of Star Wars Legends. Let's jump right in so you can get an idea of exactly where you want to get started. Method number one is to pick an era of Star Wars comics. There's the 90s era, the prequels era, the modern Legends era, and the classic era. So if you want to get started with eras, the first chronologically is the classic era, though we don't really recommend this as a starting point. It consists of the old Marvel series, which is kind of not foundational to the stories told in comics. It's just wild, wacky, fun, colorful, but not necessarily substantial enough of an era to start with or really dive deep into this world. This era also consists of newspaper strips, which are generally considered to be of higher quality, but again, not necessarily a great jumping in point. 1991 was a monumental year for Star Wars storytelling though, with Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn on the book side and Dark Horse relaunching the Star Wars comics on the comic side. If you're looking to start with this era, you'll want to look at Dark Empire. Dark Empire is divisive, it's bold, and at its core, it's a Legends story. It features an army of slimy Palpatine clones, dark and broody Luke Skywalker attempting to take him down once and for all, Boba Fett surviving the Sarlacc, and so much more. If you want to get started with Dark Empire, check out New Republic Epic Collection Volume 5, where it was released most recently. Another 90s story that was really foundational to the Legends story is Tales of the Jedi. This is a foundational story because it tells the story of the Old Republic, thousands of years ago, the origins of the Jedi. It's epic and mythological, Shakespearean and ornate, and takes place 4,000 years before the films. Next, let's look at the prequel era. One of the longest running sagas in Star Wars comics history is Star Wars 1998, which then became Republic after issue 45 and then Dark Times in 2008. It starts during episode 1, but really fleshes out the Clone Wars and the fall of the Jedi at a time before the Clone Wars TV show ever existed. It's one of the most important series in Star Wars Legends. Also part of this era are the comics from the Clone Wars Multimedia Project, which was really an unprecedented multimedia initiative within the Star Wars world. Following the release of Revenge of the Sith is really when we saw the modern Legends era of comics blossom. A great way to get started in this era is Knights of the Old Republic, a long-running series by John Jackson Miller. It's an incredible series with Mandalorians, Ithorian bounty hunters, a protagonist you love to root for, but who can't get out of his own way, and so much more. It's a great place to start if you're interested in this era. If you want to jump way ahead in time though, check out the Legacy series, which is set 100 years after Return of the Jedi and imagines a completely different future for the Star Wars universe. And while this series is definitely best enjoyed by someone who has a baseline level of knowledge about the post-Return of the Jedi world of Legends, it's definitely an enjoyable read for anyone who wants to see the world of Star Wars turned on its head. Comics are pretty easily consumable as they come in short form issues, but if you're fans of bigger, grander tales, a great place to start might be with a longer series. So if you're a fan of the slow burn, getting to know the characters, the long build-up, this is the way to go to get started with Legends comics. Our two recommendations here would be Knights of the Old Republic and Legacy, both of which we discussed in the previous eras section. If eras or epic series don't really appeal to you, another great way to start is to pick one of your favorite characters and really dive into the material about that character. And we can't include every character in Star Wars Legends in this video, so if you want to read about a character that we don't talk about, be sure to check out the Youtini guides, the page for which will be linked in the description. So one great place to start would be with Darth Vader. Darth Vader really made his comics renaissance in the late Legends era with standout books like Darth Vader and the Ghost Prison, Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin, and Purge. Another great character who really gets fleshed out in the comics is Boba Fett after escaping from the Sarlacc pit. Blood Ties, Twin Engines of Destruction, and Agent of Doom are just a few examples of so many great ways to learn more about Boba Fett in the comic. The Blood Ties Omnibus is a great place to start here as it compiles some of the best stories about Boba Fett from Legend. Another great way to get started really diving deeper into Legends comics is to dabble a little bit and find artists or authors who you really love. We'll give a couple examples here, but feel free to sample a few different comics, find a style you really love, and then dive deep into that creator. Few creatives in Star Wars are as prolific as John Ostrander and Jan Duursema, who created the majority of Star Wars 1998, Republic, Legacy, and that's just scratching the surface. The pair crafted iconic characters like Darth Krayt and Aayla Secura, and they're really known for their combination of over-the-top action with engaging storytelling. Another prominent Legends comic writer is project head for The Force Unleashed, Hayden Blackman. Blackman's penned some of the most amazing storylines in Legends comics. Storylines like Jango Fett, Open Seasons, Darth Vader and the Lost Command, and Darth Vader and the Ghost Prison are all great ways to get started and see more of Blackman's work. But of course, that's just scratching the surface, and there's so many more great authors and artists, so just find something you like and run with that creator. Finally, if none of these other methods of getting started with Legends comics has appealed to you, you can just pick a format that you like to read comics in. There are two main ways to read Star Wars comics, print and digital. So if you're the type who likes to flip through pages and hold a physical book, you'd want to go with print, but if you like having your comics all accessible to you in your pocket, go with the digital format. So if you're a fan of the digital format, you've pretty much got most of Legends comics available to you at your fingertips through services like Marvel Unlimited. And as a bonus, all of the Dark Horse comics were actually transferred over to Marvel with Marvel's acquisition in 2014-2015. So most of Legends is there for you to read. If you're a fan of holding the comic books physically though, you might not have as much luck at getting individual issues, so your decisions might be driven by what's available in omnibuses and epic collections. So the hardcover omnibus is kind of a recent phenomenon from Marvel, and they tend to collect an entire series in a hardcover format. One recent example is the Knights of the Old Republic omnibus, which comprises all 55 issues of the comic series. This is a great way to get started if you're looking to dive into one long epic series like we had talked about before. A little bit more accessible for reading Legends comics for modern readers are epic collections. Epic collections are paperbacks that compile a bunch of issues of Legends comics. So whatever you're interested in getting started with, an era, an artist, a character, there's probably an epic collection that can kind of get you started in that interest. It's a great way to get started with Legends comics, and if you want to see the full list of epic collections along with descriptions so you can know exactly where to jump in, check out the link in the description to our website. So that was a lot of information if you've never read any Legends comics before. To summarize, if you're interested in jumping into the world of Legends comics for the first time, either pick an era you're interested in terms of the comic releases, tackle an epic series that really builds one dramatic storyline, pick a character or theme you love and dive into the comics about that character, or pick a creator you love and dive into their work. You can also let your decision of media kind of guide your choices, whether you choose print or digital, whether you read single issues or omnibuses or epic collections. So yes, there's a ton of Legends comics out there, but there are also so many great places to start, so many great stories that are told. As you're going through this journey of Legends comics, be sure to check out the resources linked in the description to keep up with all of Youtini's materials on Legends comics so you can always know what your next read is. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.